realise that there's probably football, soccer for the Americans, football for everybody else in the world. Probably football today. I've no clue. I'm not really a sporty person, but there's probably football, as in American football, for the Americans, because I suddenly just realised it's July the 4th today. So I'm very unlikely to get anyone from anyone in the world, because either you're going to be looking at the Euros or some sort of Super Bowl-y type thing. I don't know. Do they have football on, like American football, on July the 4th? I don't know. Possibly, quite possibly. So I'm just going to amuse myself by making something out of clay, because that guitar's anyway. Because I've got very little idea whether anybody will turn up, except for me. Except for me. What shall I make? Don't know. Could make a bunny rabbit. Could make a bunny rabbit. That doesn't look much like a bunny rabbit, does it? Nobody there to say yes or no, so that's fine. Bunny rabbit. That doesn't look anything like a bunny rabbit. It looks like a weird deformed mouse thing. But I've only just started doing it. Yeah, so I'm probably going to keep this fairly brief, since there's nobody here. There's nobody likely to come here. And it's just me who's not interested in the sport at all. Oh, I've got it doesn't look like I've got anyone watching, and yet I've got a thumbs up. Thank you, thumbs up person who's appearing invisible. 2 people. Hello, how are you? Yes, you're not enjoying... Is there football tonight? I don't know whether there is. Possibly there is, possibly there isn't. But I'm here, and you're here, and somebody else is here. Evening! Hooray! 2 people that I've met in real life, so that's good. We're all here together. No idea, no, I don't care. Yeah, I'm sure it's I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. Chaz and Days. Chaz and Days? Chaz and Daisy. It's a new duo. Chaz and Daisy. Do you like that ear? That's a good ear, isn't it? That looks very nice. Yeah. So, thank you very much for joining me. That looks a little bit like a deer. A deer with a big ear. A big eared deer. Or something similar. Yeah, this clay's gone all dried up. An ear for music. An ear for being here. Yeah. One thing I just realised, never mind. An ear for that. I don't know whether you were trying to make a joke or not. If you are, it's gone over my head. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Yeah, so it's July the 4th, which my birthday's on April the 6th. So you can imagine what July the 4th might be. I'm very aware of this, because my parents told me what it was. Oh, the ear was for. Oh, the ear, I see. The ear was for a deer. It's part of a deer's ear. It's 2 ears. Ear. So July the 4th is the day that my parents told me that I came into existence in the very realist sense of the word. But my birthday's April the 6th. So you can do the maths, really. Do the maths. I was actually due on April the 1st, I think, in terms of days. But, cosmic joke, I came out on April the 6th, which apparently is a new tax year in Britain. And I think I've worked out that means that when I get my pension, I'll get it a year later than I would have done otherwise. And I'll get less because they changed the laws. So thanks for that. If I'd been born a couple of days earlier, I might have got thousands of pounds more when it comes to my retirement date, which would probably be several years earlier or something like that. And I don't think it makes it several years earlier, but it definitely does something. I know somebody said that something financial was very important, and the time that I was born made it that somebody didn't get some money that they were due. I might have just been... That might just be my imagination saying that. I'm going to make a ball of clay to represent the creation of Elise. A ball of clay. There, it's not... So did you see my... I know, Michelle, you were there. Were you there as well, Philip? I can't remember. My box of stuff. So it's quite nice, the box of stuff, even though it was like, I've got a lot of items in my ladies' box of stuff. And very little of it was for ladies, which is just as well, because I'm a lady. That's no lady, that's my wife. I'm nobody's wife. La, 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 la. Yes, I'm not a very ladylike person at all. Physical, seemingly to the opposite. Oh, look at this. This is just not sticking together. Yeah, I'm not a very ladylike person. Sid James laugh. But I'd make a little hat for my head. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, you know, you weren't there, but it's there. It's still there. Yeah, I'll make a little hat for my... So I made that little bowl. That little golden bowl of wonder. So amazing. Oh, and that's my... Meow, 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 meow. That's still there. I should probably finish that. Yeah, I'll make another golden bowl. Because they're nice and easy to make. It's like, and they'll find them in millions of years' time and realise... I think that's what civilization was like in the year 2021. All sorts of golden bowls everywhere. Ooh, I saw like something online about loads of big boulders that they found in South America in the jungle, and they're like in the capital of, I don't know, Mexico or Panama, somewhere like that. And they found these loads of big boulders, and they're like, and somebody was like, oh, it's like aliens made them because they're so smooth. And then I saw another thing online about a big boulder on a beach in New Zealand. And it said it was a completely natural phenomenon, and it's concretization, I think, which just means that, you know, that's just the way that they formed. So they're looking for a huge snooker table. Yes, exactly. For all the balls, exactly. But, so, because when I was a child-ish, teenager-ish, when I was younger, I used to be a big fan of Eric von Daniken, because I found a load of his they were old at the time, these books, because I think they're from, like, 60s or 70s or something. Anyway, I found them when I was a student, like 16 or 17. I was like, whoa, these are real, look, aliens, all these things, aliens, because Eric von Daniken's, look, it looks like an astronaut, it must be aliens. There you go, my little. So aliens made this, because it's so well made and so well crafted that nobody could possibly have made something like this. So they'll find it and they'll go, aliens. Yes, Eric von Daniken is one of the people that I mentioned in my Edinburgh show in 2012. I did a show about archaeology, like urban archaeology, like things you can find in the back garden and things. I can do that again now, find things in my back garden, because I've cleared it so much that it's a wasteland of vast, and you know, I've cut down things, so there's lots of piled up sticks and ivy and bits of you can see I've scratched myself all over from the blackberries and stuff, but you can see the soil, so I can dig the soil up and see whether there's any other things magical, because they did look like they were like fossils, and I found a load of like little horns and stuff like that. And I was very interested in it. Eric von Daniken, because I had a section in my Edinburgh show about archaeologists that are fictional and archaeologists that are just absolutely ridiculous and say ridiculous things, and reputable archaeologists as well. And it was a really great show. Not that if you read if you read the reviews, you would think otherwise. The people that get it's like, oh, you don't know anything about archaeology, and it's rubbish, it's terrible, and I can't understand why you did it. So that's basically and why do you even bother coming to Edinburgh? What a waste. That was it. Yeah, don't watch it. That's exactly it. Don't watch the football. Watch me. I'm much better than the football. Sacrilege. Anyway, so I got people that were actual archaeologists. I am still bitter about this. Actual archaeologists coming to it and saying, this is a really fun show. Oh, this is a good show. And people that knew nothing about archaeology and saying, oh, that was oh, that wasn't buffering. I completely lost the internet then. Oh, it's a conspiracy. Completely lost the internet. It just went down. I was trying to reconnect. Oh, look, see my amazing bowl. So archaeologists in the future will go, who cares about your terrible review? Look at this alien archaeology. Look at this thing that's so beautiful and splendid that it can't possibly be made by human hands. It must be aliens. Aliens! Yes, anyway. So Eric von Däniken was in that. So I really love that. Love that rubbish. Like there's like stuff on the History Channel that makes no sense. I mean, the History Channel used to be reputable, didn't it? But for years and years they've had this sort of stuff, pseudo science and pseudo history and pseudo various different things. Studio. Yeah, which started, I remember when I was a journalist, I remember to pinpoint the exact time that it went a bit weird, the History Channel, because they had been having really reputable, proper programmes about real history, and then they did a drama documentary about Nostradamus. I was going to say Nosferatu, and it had Heathcote Williams, who was also very famous for doing a big long poem about Wales, I think. Not Wales the country, like Wales the animal. And I went to interview him. I went to interview him near Seven Dials in what was a hotel then, and I think, because I also interviewed Tia Carrera in that very hotel a few months later, and it was almost mistaken for Tia Carrera. I know I don't look like Tia Carrera, but I think there were some flowers for Tia Carrera, and somebody came in and they were like, here's some oh, you're not Tia Carrera. It's like, no. Good spot. I'm definitely not Tia Carrera. Anyway, I interviewed Tia Carrera at a different point about that was a Tomb Raider knockoff. Funnily enough, that was like she was a sort of archaeologist in that. So this is relevant, even though I'm just like, what? Spitballing this rubbish. Yeah, Tia Carrera was playing, I can't remember what it was called, Tomb Hunter, or it wasn't Tomb Raider, but it was like, she was a bit like Lara Croft, only not. Anyway, that was a short-lived series. No, but anyway, Heathcote Williams was playing Nostradamus, not Nosferatu, and I interviewed him, and also somebody else that was in it. I can't remember who they were. If I looked it up in my extensive files, I'd probably find out. I don't know whether I've got extensive files. I've lost so much over the years. But yeah, and I remember he was really into that. Have you? Oh no! Oh gosh, Village, I hope you feel better soon. Yeah, so I'm getting back to this now because I'm off the beaten track. I do sympathise though, yeah. And Heathcote Williams, he said to me that I should do, this was before I did any characters on YouTube, that I reminded him of the wellness guru that was looking after Tony Blair and his wife at the time. I was exactly like her. I think I had slightly straighter hair, and I should do a character based on her, but as sort of a wellness guru, and he could see it. He could predict the future as if he was actually Nostradamus, that he saw it. He looked at me and he realized, he was like, I can, this is, at this point I was doing, not really, I mean, even though I've got a drama degree, I hadn't done any acting for a while at this point. I was just a journalist, you say, but a journalist is so much. Anyway, I was just a journalist interviewing people and feeling very jealous about it. And he looked at me and he said, oh, you should do this, trust me, you should do this character, I can see it. And I was like, oh, I will, I'll take that, I'll do that. But I've never done it. And since then, people that I've met, other people that I've met and worked with have done sort of wellness guru sort of characters. So I would be like, oh, they think that I was ripping them off if I did that wellness guru character. But I could say that Nostradamus' very self, or the person that played him on TV, said that he could see it in my future. So maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll do a wellness guru based on, I can't even remember, it's a long time ago, what Sherry Blair's wellness guru was like I can't remember, but I think she was sort of in the news, but I don't know, she must have had hair like mine, something like that, or hair like Tia Carrera's. Maybe that's what they saw. No, anyway, so maybe I should do that. Nostradamus. Or maybe I could be Nosferatu. Nosferatu! That's who I'll be. A knockoff vampire. Oh, this is just breaking apart. This is so dry. I mean, the only thing I can do with it, really, is make these little pots and pretend that's what and then I find hundreds of little pots and I'll paint them and I'll bury them in the garden, and they'll find them and they'll think, oh, this must be a special symbolic jest. This must be something that meant something significant. Hello, Doctor. Significant. And all these little pots, these little golden pots, like little funerary urns, like canopic jars. It's like, oh, and this one must have contained her spleen. This one must have contained their liver. And this one had sweets in it. This other one didn't have sweets in it. That's her. That's exactly who it was. Thank you. Good. I don't know whether you knew that or whether you looked it up. Anyway, Heathcote Williams, his very self, who I know when I was doing A-levels, my drama teacher really loved Heathcote Williams and showed us the whatever the big long poem that he did was, and was like, oh, look, he's splendid, amazing, and we're like, yay, he's amazing, Mr. Drama Teacher, we'll agree with you. And I met him, and he was a very nice man, but I think he did actually believe that he'd turned into Nostradamus. Maybe he was just method acting. Anyway, that's when the History Channel went wrong and stopped doing pure history and started doing, because it was like, Nostradamus, he was a historical figure. Of course he was, he existed, but he actually predicted the future, not so much. And that's when it was, it's like, yes, this is a little bit of factual based stuff, that he did exist. I'm not disputing that, but maybe he didn't actually predict the future in any way. But maybe Heathcote Williams did, and I will be Caroline Kaplan or Carolyn Kaplan or whatever her name is. And I'll do... Maybe this is it. Maybe this is what he saw. I'm Carolyn Kaplan. I'm a fitness guru. There. That's what he saw in the future. I don't think he's with us anymore, Heathcote Williams. I think he, in the last few years, ceased to be. So I don't know. Maybe he's still alive, and I'm just saying that out of nowhere. I definitely know Tia Carrere is still with us. She's definitely... She was in Wayne's World. Yay! She sang Ballroom Blitz, didn't she? Yeah. And she's from Hawaii. These are all the things I know about Tia Carrere. And I almost got her flowers. I didn't get her flowers. I didn't get flowers for her. I almost got the flowers that were meant for her. But then I didn't because. Anyway, she was nice too. So I interviewed lots of people. I used to have a good job. Not that I haven't got a good job now. Oh, my job's lovely. But I used to have a pretend glamorous job. You know when it's like, you can pretend that you're a glamorous person because you're meeting all these people that are famous, but what really, you're dying inside because you're not a glamorous person and you're not really getting enough to live on, and you have to live off your overdraft, and you panic and you live like a student even though you're grown up, and you're like, oh, this is awful, I wish I was famous, and you really, really want to be one of the correspondents on Big Brother and get to be on a talking head program, and you're like, oh, and then you find out that those people don't get paid for that even, they're just doing it to raise their profile, and you're like, well, I still don't know who you are, so you did that for exposure rather than the money, and I'm very impressed by that, but I didn't help you, did it? Yeah, so I never even got to be an exploited talking head on any of those 100 best TV show things, or go on Big Brother. I wanted to be in Big Brother, and then I found out that they didn't let journalists be in Big Brother, so I wanted to be on like Big Brother's Little Brother, and I never got to do that, ever, and I was so sad. Tragic, really, isn't it? Thwarted things. Maybe if I'd only listened to Heathcote Williams and been Carolyn Kaplan, then it would have all gone horribly right. Or maybe not. I interviewed some say somebody, I'll say, oh, I interviewed them or not. Yeah, go on then. Name a person and I'll see whether I interviewed them. And I bet that I haven't. But maybe I have. You don't know. It's a possibility, isn't it? It's always a possibility that I've interviewed them. And I'm like, yes, and I'll tell you a story about all the stuff that happened when I interviewed them. Oh, thank you. Do I do script writing? Do you do script writing? I have done script writing, but you know how thwarted plans are, and how I'm very grateful for that, Ian. Yeah, no, I've done scripts, and they've gone nowhere. Michael Gove, no, I've not interviewed him. He's not really a celebrity, is he? He's more of a sort of um, glamour toad. No, that's Ginger Minge. That's the drag queen. No, he's he. I wouldn't like to speculate. No, never interviewed. No politicians. Have I interviewed any politicians? I think I have interviewed some politicians. I think I might have interviewed. What's his name? The guy that was going out with one of the cheeky girls. I can't remember. Yeah. Yes, he is, isn't he? But the. What's the name of the guy that went out with the Spice Girls? I think because he was in a school, because when he was the MP for Brecon and Radnor, sort of Powys area, Lembit Opik, that's him. Yeah, and I also saw he was going out at the time with Sian Lloyd, the weather girl, and I didn't interview her, but I did go on a residential course at Atlantic College where we were doing playback theatre, and went to St Faggin's to see As You Like It in the open air, and Sian Lloyd, the weather girl, was in the audience there, so I didn't interview her, but I was in the same audience as her when I was going to see a play. Ooh, there's fancy. That's not very impressive, but yeah, he was. I've never met a cheeky girl though. Never met a cheeky girl. But yeah, Lembit Opik, I think, is the only interview that I've done with a. Did I even interview him? I probably didn't say much to him. He was more just opening the school or saying something at the school. So I think there might have been an author. So I think one of the teachers had written a book or something like that. Anyway, but also Thomas. I can't remember his name. The MP for Torvine. I've met both MPs for Torvine in the last year, but one of them was helped broker the peace agreement in Northern Ireland. That was Paul Murphy. I've met him, and yeah, but I didn't interview him, but I talked to him because I went to one of his surgeries once. Not like that's what they hold. Like they hold surgeries to talk to their constituents. And he was sort of a friend of my parents. And yeah, he says hello to my mum every time he sees him when that's happened. And also Nicholas Thomas Simmons, that's his name. He's been in my parents' living room because my father actually painted his portrait. That's something for you, isn't it? Oh, my name dropping's good, isn't it? Oh, good name dropping. Yeah, so he was sitting in our living room once, and I was like, ooh, that's Thomas. What's his name? I can't even remember his name. Yeah, no, but you haven't said anyone famous. Who famous? I can't remember because it's a film. And I definitely interviewed Paul McGann around the time that he did. Although it was more of a sort of interview about Doctor Who, because it was a Doctor Who related thing. I interviewed him at a BBC event and also over the phone, and he said, here's my home phone number, and phone me if you need anything more, phone me over Christmas. And I was very, because I wanted to know about Queen of the Damned, because I was a big Anne Rice fan at the time. Foolishly, Anne Rice. But I actually like Queen of the Damned. It's quite a fun film. I was thinking of maybe watching it again. Yeah, why not? It actually might be a little bit better than The Vampire Lestat as a film, because it's less po-faced and more serious. Less serious. But of course that was marred by the fact that, yeah, the lead actress. That's not good, is it? But it's a good film. It's a good film, even though you wouldn't think it. Nobody said any suggestions apart from politicians. Anyway, so there's another rubbish pot. I've got 4 rubbish, tiny little things. I don't even know what they are. Just making canopic jars. That's what they are. 1 for each of. They can go in my. Put an elephant on the top of it. And there's my elephant. It's an elephant canopic jar. What elephant god is there? It's a clanger. A clanger elephant. Is everyone gone? I can't see anyone. Llewellyn Benjamin. He was a Lib Dem MB. Any of the Pythons? Yes. Actually, sorry, not Llewellyn Benjamin. Any of the Pythons? Yes. It was Terry Jones. But I had to take shorthand because I didn't have anything. So I took shorthand notes for him. He was doing a history program about... I can't remember what he was doing it about. But yeah, I did. Terry Jones. That's who I've interviewed out of the Pythons. That was the only one of the Pythons. And yeah, also no longer with. Maybe everybody that I've interviewed is no longer with us. That can't be true because we've established that Tia Carrera is still, and so is Paul McGann. Paul McGann's still very much alive, I hope. He was when I started this video. Who knows by the end of this video what will happen. Anything else? Not Llewellyn Benjamin, but not the same thing at all. But Wincy Willis, I went on a writing course with Wincy Willis, and when she lived in near me, when I lived in Ross-on-Wye. Plate? Yeah, I could make a plate. And Wincy Willis gave me a lift home to Ross-on-Wye. That was nice fair, wasn't it? Wincy Willis was Weather Girl. Weather Girl. Yeah. And she was in the studio in Annika Rice's Chase for Going to Round the Place and Doing Things. Annika Go. Now, what was it called? I think, yeah. What was that called? Go with Annika. There was a thing. Anyway, there was a sort of treasure hunt thing where Annika Rice went around and she had to do something quickly. Challenge Annika, that's it. Challenge Annika. Yeah, Wincy Willis was like in the studio with like some old bloke that was Robert somebody. Anyway, Challenge Annika, yes, she was in that. And so was Wincy Willis. What qualifications do you need to be a weather girl? Well, you really do need to have some sort of degree or meteorological qualification. You don't really need a degree, but I think it depends. Sometimes they want somebody that's an actual meteorologist, and sometimes they just want a quirky presenter, and I think some morning ones are more quirky presenters than meteorologists. I think you still have to go on a little course to make sure you know what you're talking about, but I think it really depends on the TV station whether you need to be a properly qualified meteorological person, expert, or whether you have to sort of know what you're doing but not be massively qualified. So I think it really depends. You have to be good at presenting and know what the weather is. Know stuff about the weather. Give a good impression of knowing what you're talking about. But yeah, I think you do have to go on a course. But some of them are properly really well trained and some of them are less well trained really. Some of them are just there to look good. And I know Sian Lloyd used to present S4C in Welsh. So Sian Lloyd, didn't used to be a weather girl. She used to be just a normal presenter because they used to have continuity announcers on S4C back in the day where you could see them on screen. They used to sit in a seat very much like this seat here and do the, because I know I've got a Rocky Horror Picture Show that I recorded off the TV once, and they've got not Sian Lloyd, there was the other there was two really main women people, and one of them wasn't Sian Lloyd. And anyway, one of them, I'm going off the beaten track again. Anyway, one of them sitting in a chair like this one, presenting and talking about things in Welsh, even though she might have actually been speaking in English. Anyway, they used to have on-screen talent. I think they used to have them in the West Country as well, in Westward Ho, or yeah, because they used to have Gus Honeyburn. I know we used to have cousins that lived in Devon, and that was the highlight of my trip, going down there and watching Gus Honeyburn with doing his little and Gus Honeyburn was like a rabbit, and he'd do birthdays, and he'd go boom, 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 and the presenter would like move the puppet, or somebody under the table. There's a presenter, and somebody under the table would be moving the puppet, and God, goodness knows what else they were doing under the table. But yeah, so Gus Honeyburn would be doing birthday announcements. They don't do that sort of thing anymore. That nice, cosy, family sort of, we're all together, community. That's what it is. They don't do that sort of community thing. Like, you get continuity announcers that you never see. I didn't go anywhere. It was the internet. Buffering. It's not buffering. This internet's gone completely down. So I just sort of reconnected just to say, so long, farewell, and Peter saying goodbye. Because this is going to keep going down. It's not so much storms in London as terrible, terrible internet. So there you go. I've made I've made 3 little things. So I will go now. Thank you very much for sticking around. I'll see you later. Thank you very much to everybody that's tuned in. Bye!